Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Arva Rice. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the interim chair of the Civilian Complaint Review Board. I would like to call the CCRB September Public Board Meeting to order. Would the rest of the board members like to introduce themselves? Can we start with Mr. Puma?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Puma. I go by he, him pronouns. I'm the city council designee to the board from Manhattan, and I hail from the Lower East Side. I happen to also serve on my NYCHA resident association, so it's a bit of a familiar space to be in this community center at this development, and thank you all for coming.
Hi, my name is Joe Fox. I'm a retired NYPD chief. I'm the police commissioner's representative. I've been here a little less than a year and glad to be here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm A.U. Hogan. I'm a city council representative from District 28 in South Jamaica, Queens. Good to have you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Darsh. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the executive director of the CCRB.
Good evening, everyone. Charlene Brown, Police Commissioner Designee, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening.
Good evening. My name is Herman Merritt, City Council Designee from Brooklyn. I live in Bed-Stuy.
Good evening, Frank Dwyer, a Police Commissioner Designee, and thank you for coming out on a beautiful night.
Thank you. And we would like to have the members of the board who are joining us virtually, if they can introduce themselves. With Kevin.
Hey, good evening. My name is Kevin Jamont. I'm the mayor's designee from Queens.
Hello, my name is June Northern, and I'm the mayor's designee from Brooklyn.
Good evening. My name is Esmeralda Simmons. I use she, her pronouns. I am the public advocate designee, and I live in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
Thank you so much. I want to ask if there are any changes or corrections to the July minutes. Any changes or corrections to the July minutes? Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the July board meeting minutes as presented.
So move.
July board meeting minutes are approved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, any opposed? Okay, I'd like to ask if there's any changes or corrections to the August board meeting minutes. To the August minutes. Any changes or corrections? Okay, if not, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the August board minutes as presented.
Move the approval of the August board meeting minutes.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the board minutes for July and for April are approved. Thank you. I want to start today by taking a moment to remember the victims of 9/11 and their families. 22 years ago, our city was attacked and thousands of lives lost. Thank you to all of the first responders who showed up to help save lives and to the people who work to keep our city safe. The CCRB is pleased to be back on Staten Island. Since the beginning of the year, the CCRB outreach team has doubled its presence on Staten Island. We have conducted 241 presentations, tabling events, block by block, and CCRB Cares events. Anyone can request an informational presentation by the CCRB, which explains your rights when interacting with police officers, what constitutes misconduct, and how to file a complaint if you believe you have been a victim or witness of misconduct. In a few moments, our Director of Outreach, Jahai Rose, will give one of our outreach presentations. Thank you to the JCC Richmond Terrace Cornerstone Community Center for hosting us today, and to Denise Taylor for helping to facilitate this meeting. I would also like to thank Chairperson Kamala Hanks for coming today. Your leadership as Chair of the Public Safety Committee has been instrumental to supporting civilian oversight, and we appreciate your commitment to improving police-community relations. I would now like to welcome Chairperson Hanks to say a few words. Councilmember Hanks.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. So welcome to this meeting. I really my name is Camila Hanks. I am the council member of the 49th District. I hail from Stapleton and Park Hill, but New Brighton in this area is definitely home. It's good to see some familiar faces. Hello, everybody. So I want to thank Interim Chair Arva Rice and the CCRB board. I welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. I am the chair on the Committee of Public Safety, and we have oversight of CCRB. So I'm really happy to see so many faces here, because this is, as the interim chair, Arva Rice, had said, a very important part of the process, and the public needs to understand where they can go and understand their rights when it comes to police-community relations. So CCRB is a civilian oversight agency that plays a critical role in promoting transparency, accountability, and fair policing practices within the largest police department in the United States, the NYPD. It serves as a mechanism for civilians to voice their concerns and seek redress for alleged misconduct, contributing to ongoing efforts to strengthen the relationship between law enforcement and the communities that they serve. The goal of CCRB is to hold NYPD accountable for its actions. It is important that the civilian agency to provide feedback from the public is critical. So with that, I would like to thank all of you for coming here today. I do have to leave because we got started a little late, but I am looking forward to having meetings on our appointment for the Staten Island CCRB. Thank you so much, everyone.
Councilmember. Thank you, Councilmember Camila Hanks, for joining us. We appreciate it. And I'm now going to pass it off to Executive Director Jonathan Darsh, who will give his presentation.
Thank you, Chair Rice. I want to first start with an update on the CCRB's budget in light of the announcement over the weekend that due to the migrant crisis, all city agencies will have to cut their budgets. There are proposed 5% cuts over the next 9 months. Those cuts will be detrimental to CCRB operations, to say the least, and the services we provide to New Yorkers. The CCRB is an instrumental part of public safety in the city. Without proper funding, we cannot fulfill our mission to New Yorkers. We are going to strive to work with the Office of Management and Budget to find the best way to continue serving New Yorkers. I'm confident that our staff will continue to be professional and do the best job they can. But those are very, very steep and drastic cuts to this agency. I also want to quickly update folks on a case in which a member of service struck a man named Eric Dupree with a water cooler as he was riding his scooter on the sidewalk, killing him. The CCRB received a complaint regarding this incident. We've opened an investigation, and that investigation is ongoing. Last month, the CCRB released our 2023 semi-annual report, which gives the public an update on the first 6 months of 2023. It breaks down CCRB investigations by complaint data, types of allegation, the location of incidents, and it now includes sections on the new unit that investigates complaints about racial profiling and bias-based policing. If you take a look, you would see that complaints in the CCRB's jurisdiction are up significantly over prior years. Almost the highest levels we've seen in 6 or 7 years. And when you see that increased number of complaints, to combine that with the budget cuts is going to be a real burden on the agency being able to do its job in an effective way. The agency also released its quarterly report on the APU, the Administrative Prosecution Unit. What's new in this report is that we're including all the paperwork about the cases that were finalized by the police commissioner. And so you can see the evidence that the CCRB presented, our arguments, the arguments of the police unions, and then the police department's decisions. And I think it is a result of a lot of hard work by our policy unit, but also the investigators and prosecutors that did the work we were able to report on. And I want to thank those team members who did that work so that we can get the public information in a timely way. Before we get further into this evening's meeting, I just want to remind folks that our office is open for walk-in complaints, but it's also possible to file complaints online at nyc.gov/CCRB complaint. That's nyc.gov/CCRB COMPLAINT. You can also call us directly on the telephone at 1-800-341-2272 or by dialing 311 and telling the operator that you want to make a complaint about a police officer. If anyone wishes to file a complaint right now, we have 2 investigators here, Emma Steidehar and Rob Bryan, and we also have a member of our civilian assistance unit, Ruth Villafane, here as well. We're going to ask folks to keep their comments to 4 minutes because I think we have a hard stop tonight. So I appreciate if you could keep your comments to 4 minutes. I want to thank the staff who put this meeting together. It's tough for us to take the show on the road, but we know how important it is to go to the people who we are serving and hear from you where you are. And I want to thank the people who are here today and the people who are online for joining us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do any members of our board have any questions of our executive director? Any questions of our executive director? And online, does anyone have any questions of John?
No.
Can I hear a presentation from?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jahai Rose. I'm the Director of Outreach for the Civilian Complaint Review Board. I go by he, him pronouns. Just going to give you a brief overview of what the CCRB is, so we're all on the same page. So the CCRB, Civilian Complaint Review Board, is the nation's largest oversight body over the nation's largest police force. Our responsibility is to investigate, mediate, and in some cases administratively prosecute allegations of police misconduct that's alleged against members of the New York City Police Department. Our agency is governed by a 15-member board, of which some of them you've met today. There's 5 that are appointed by the New York City Mayor, 5 that are appointed by the New York City Council. There's 3 that are appointed by the New York City Police Commissioner, and 1 that's appointed by the New York City Public Advocate. The chair is jointly appointed by the New York City Mayor and the New York City Council. As the agency investigates allegations of police misconduct, we do have a very specific jurisdiction that falls under the category FADO and U, so that's force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, offensive language, and untruthful statements. Just a little bit of information regarding the Right to Know Act. The Right to Know Act went into effect in 2018. It impacts police encounters with members of the public. Under certain circumstances, police officers are required to notify you of who they are, providing identifying information such as name, rank, command, shield, or badge number. With some exceptions, officers should also be explaining the purpose of the encounter or the interaction. And under certain circumstances, officers should also be notifying you that if they need to get your permission to conduct a search, they have to notify you that you have the right to say no as a part of that request. Last but not least, officers are also, under certain circumstances, required to offer you a business card. That business card has identifying information about the officer. It also explains various ways for you to be able to make a comment and/or complaint about the interaction between you and that officer. Individuals can request this business card in any encounter. This is a copy of what the business card looks like. There are various ways to file complaints with the CCRB. Of one that was mentioned by our executive director is going to the agency's website. That's nyc.gov/CCRB complaint. You could also call the CCRB's hotline at 1-800-341-CCRB or 1-800-341-2272. If you see footage of misconduct on social media or in the news, you can use that information to file a complaint with the CCRB. You no longer have to be there in person in order to file that complaint. The typical handle for the CCRB is at CCRB_NYC. Other ways for you to file a complaint with the CCRB include coming into our office and also calling 311, everyone's favorite number. You could also come into the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board's headquarters at Lower Manhattan at 100 Church Street on the 10th floor. You could also file a complaint by direct messaging the CCRB on our platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, or X, and Instagram. You could also send a letter to the CCRB at 100 Church Street, 10th floor, New York, New York, zip code 10007. You could also file a complaint in any precinct throughout the city of New York. It does not have to be the precinct where the encounter took place. Officers are required to accept those complaints in the precinct, and they could also offer you a complaint form and a self-addressed envelope. If you're interested in receiving an outreach presentation from the CCRB, feel free to contact us at outreach@ccrb.nyc.gov. Shoot us an email, and you could also follow us on social media on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you all.
Do any of our board members have any questions of Mr. Rose? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We will now hear from local community leaders. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. As a reminder, we're going to ask you to please keep your comments to 4 minutes. And Yahira, we're going to ask you to please call on the first speaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, we'll be hearing from Barbara Schill, the president of the NYC's Richmond Terrace Tenant Association.
Or could you repeat the name? You're a little muffled. Can you repeat the name?
First, we'll be hearing from Barbara, the president of the Terrace Tenant Association.
Howard, you want to send me a text and I can then call on the person?
Will do. Sorry about that.
So Michelle? So Michelle is the president of the Richmond Terrace Tenant Association. We're very happy to have you with us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. And my biggest concern is having the police patrol the area more and also be involved with the children in the community. We have a good rapport with the police as far as our NCOs attending our meetings, but we would like to see them do more verticals, check the buildings more, and be more respectful to the residents in the area. Okay. You're welcome. Lori?
Thank you for your comments.
Ms. Perry, is Ms. Perry here?
Ma'am, what was that?
Oh, that was Ms. Shield.
Shield? Shield? Hear me? Am I on? Yes. Thank you. And you just described model policing. You know, enough patrols, being respectful and working with the community and especially the youth. There are cops in every borough and precinct that's, you probably know the youth officers, you know the NCO. I would, like you're doing tonight, I would do it with the precinct commander here, with Chief Galati, say, we just ring the bell. We want you here. Because like in my experience, I was always offering to come out and do things with young people and do role plays. And I usually got a 10 to 20% return. And I say that without judgment to people, but not everybody's living their lives and running their organizations. And, you know, they'll say it when there's a crisis and something bad happens. And I would always look for the follow-up. And so you do that already. I can hear that. I would suggest that you just keep letting it be known that you want more. And I think they'll come your way. And if you don't have a relationship with the precinct commander, we can speak after and I could just give you a little guidance on how to make sure you have that. Thank you.
Ms. Perry?
Yes. Doing. My name is Shaquana Perry. I am the president of a nonprofit organization out here in the urban community called Beautiful Heartbeats. Recently, last week or 2 weeks ago, we had an all weekend event and we had no policing to see all the positive that is happening in the community. They had 2 stationed. We tried to engage them. They were just very, yeah, it would, you know, no type of interaction, engagement. You know, we offered them hamburgers, hot dogs, things of that sort. You know, just we want them to know that we're not against them. You know, we are here to support them as well. Thank God everything went well all weekend. However, they don't need to be there just to be intimidated. You know, the people in our community, they don't need to be intimidated by their presence. You know, they need to build that bond, especially for a lot of ones that's working the same work in the same corners and things of that sort. They need to become more engaged, more familiarized with not just the community members, but as well as the community itself, and bring more neighbors back into neighborhood.
Thank you, Ms. Perry, for your comments.
Mr. Benjamin Gilbert?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Benjamin Gilbert. I'm the president of Occupy the Block. I'm also a middle school educator. I'm a school advisor. I've been in an educational setting for 30 years. And I'm a proud born and raised Staten Islander. One of the things that I would like to share with the CCRB panel is that my experience working with Occupy the Block, being on the corners with Neil Berry, is that was the first time I learned about the NCOs, and the NCOs did an amazing, amazing job that I witnessed in Manus Harbor. As people walked by, the NCOs engaged them. They knew the president of the NYCHA organization for Manus Harbor, and I was just very impressed. Another experience that was very impressive that I had was working at a basketball night center at PS 44. Not only did the police officers come and bring the children to play against the students of 44, but the families of the police officers come. And I'm just going to be 100%. When we have Caucasian people come into an area such as Manus Harbor at night, we think that they're there for one thing. But that kind of broke that barrier that night. And we would love to see more engagement, more interaction, not just the police officers, but those families of police officers who buy into that this is a larger community that involves all of us. And that's not what we're seeing. And if we see that more, then we have the opportunity to cross some bridges that need to be crossed. With that said, one of the things that I hope that you can get across to the police department is that under no circumstances should stop and frisk in any shape or form exist in our communities. Under no shape or form. I don't care if they call it something else, but under no circumstances should stop and frisk be allowed and accepted. It is a violation of the 14th Amendment. It does not actually prove to be beneficial. It targets people. And we want to be policed on the North Shore the same way they police on the South Shore. That's all that we're asking. The other thing I want to say is this, and it's going to take me a little bit. How much time I have? I have 1 minute. I want to say this. Ashley Babbitt is not a hero. Ashley Babbitt's not a hero. And she should not be celebrated. Michael Byrd, who unfortunately had to take the life of Ashley Babbitt on January 6th, should not have been demonized. Brian Sicknick, who died after defending the Capitol, and all of the Capitol police officers, those were heroes that day. But to have the former president bastardize Mr. Byrd for doing his job is uncalled for. And the next election is coming up. And who the NYPD gets behind in this next election will speak volumes. Will speak volumes. Because it says that they do not practice what they preach in terms of respecting police officers. During January 6th, those police officers fought bravely to defend the Capitol and the Constitution, and to endorse someone who did not recognize the sacrifice and the contribution of those brave men and women is a smack in the face to all police officers, to each and every police officer. And if the NYPD endorses, if the PBA, endorses Trump for president, it is not a good look. And we will look at the NYPD in a different way, because they are supposed to, our political leaders are supposed to really speak for all people, and they are supposed to really enforce the notion that any criminality should be prosecuted. And Ashley Babbitt, once again, is not a hero. I thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all.
Mr. Gilbert.
So that concludes the community leader portion of the meeting, Chair.
We'll now enter the public comment portion of the meeting. If you are interested in making a public comment, I think I'm about to address what you were going to say. Okay. If you're interested in making a public comment, you can come up to the microphone, and you have
4 minutes.
4 minutes to make your comment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. My name is Chief Mpaka Princewell. I'm a retired architect with the City of New York, and I'm chairman of ACASI, the African Community of Staten Island. In previous engagements, we observed that police patrol vehicles on Staten Island are not diversified. This is leading to police profiling of people of color on the island. There is disproportionate record of arrests and prosecution for people of color on Staten Island. As such, Akazi is stating here for the record that all police vehicles should show the faces of both white, black, and brown that live on Staten Island. And this program should be taken to all boroughs on Staten Island and in New York City. Because if you go to London today, from Brixton, Peckham, Camden, Kidbrook, they have started diversifying all the police vehicles with the faces of people that live in the area. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. If you wanted to make a comment, you can come to the microphone.
Hi, everyone. Jeremiah. Yeah, I'm very short. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeremiah Salia. I'm a human rights activist by profession. I'm a member of the Africa Community Together, as well as member of ACASI. I'm here to make a brief comment with regards to this issue here, the police. I call it Police Partnership Board, how you interact with the community. I want the board to take note of this, how to reach out to the community, outreach programs. The police and the community need to be family members. The civilians give information, correct information to the police. They have to interact themselves with each other. The civilians do not have to look at the police to be an enemy, because that is why I'm always against defunding the police. Because when something happens, we call on the police. When something happens with the police give, okay, we have $2,000. Who can give us information? And who is this person that is going to give this information? The civilians. Just like recently when this inmate escaped from the prison, today he has been arrested. It is the civilians that gave this information. So we have husband and wife. The police is the husband. The civilians are the wives. So we have to organize, the board has to organize how to reach out to the community. Not only the community, the information has to start from colleges, schools, because that is where we have to develop giving information, correct information to the community, to the school, to the colleges, so that when something happens, they can give off information. And I also want the board to organize, because just like my colleague there was saying, we have a lot of people of color incarcerated or kept somewhere. So let us see how we can bring on board the organizations, the civilians, to reach out in those cells, in those places, to see whether, because I look at the cells or jail place as a reformation to change you. There are times they arrest some blacks and even some whites. They arrest them because of minor offenses, and they kept them there. So we need to also organize how we can reach out to identify those people and to see how we can reform them so that when they get out, they have something to offer to the community of change. That is why I normally, when I listen to gospel, if you listen to gospel songs, if you look at their history of those singers, these are people that actually went through a lot. Either they are from prison and they came out, and today they are people that are also giving us information. So I want us, the board, please let us set up an outreach to reach out to those sets to get the other side of the story. Very recently, I need to understand a black man was released from prison after he has had a long time jail sentence. At the end of the day, he was not the one that actually did the crime, that committed the crime. But it is only when we reach out and we get the other side of the story and we also further go to do an investigation. So please, that is my brief comment for today. I thank you all.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Sala, that the agency is very good at reaching out to the people who make complaints and getting the full side of the story. We interview as many civilian witnesses as we can. We also interview the officers involved. And so by conducting those interviews and also looking at evidence that isn't tainted by a point of view, but is a body-worn camera footage, medical records, other things that we can use, we try and determine what happened, and we make impartial, fair judgments on whether the conduct that was committed was misconduct or not. And so I want to thank you for your suggestion, and we'll incorporate it into the work we're already doing. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? Name is Paul. I'm in a lot of the neighborhoods, period. Truth be told, I'm gonna piggyback off of what he said. A lot of the police, when we stop to do certain things, we feel like if we're not doing nothing, he's saying in certain situations, certain scenarios, nobody knows what those scenarios are. If I ask an officer, sir, what I'm being stopped for, you tell him, is this a rad stop or a personal stop? And the officer starts telling you certain things about, you're not a lawyer, you don't know what I am, don't worry about all that. The accountability has to start somewhere. So us in the neighborhoods, current events, Mr. P left, we got to deal with the situation as you guys are doing the interview. And the minute that a complaint is filed, that's when our cars get pulled over. We get stopped at the bus stop. You get followed to the store. That's kind of intimidating to a lot of people. Truth of the matter is, it should start in the schools. You want to bring education to a lot more people, you give it to them in school. Nobody knows what the CCRB is. You're just starting to see it on the night show like it's an Ancestry.com show. You understand? Nobody knows, and I'm being fair. I've already filed complaints and had the officer literally pull me over 2 weeks later. And I'm like, oh man, so we meet again. Things like that makes another person feel uncomfortable and unsafe. Why I bring this up at this light is we have them at our basketball events. We have them in our neighborhoods every day, right? Until you guys, well, not you guys, but until the investigation is done, we still have to live with that. You understand what I'm saying? So it can take a year. So what I'm trying to say is he's saying we're married. I'm not trying to marry no woman abuser, bro. I'm nobody's wife. You feel what I'm saying? So the truth of the matter is I don't want to be in an abusive relationship for a year till I get a divorce. Here's where it goes. When the hammer comes down, right, and we see what we got to deal with, if he locks me up, I got to fight a case. Whether I did it or not, he's going to get a suspension, and it's a slap in the face to say he has to get desk duty. Some of these people lost their jobs because you can't have a felony working for the state, working with somebody disabled. You can't even have an open case. ACS is in some people's homes, or because a cop doesn't like the way you asked him, what's the stop for? I'm dealing with the CCRB right now again. I've still had, we're still interviewing officers. It's 2 officers, not a whole precinct. It's been 4 months. I'm still sitting here. But I had the same cop. When I see him, I still tell him, hey, good morning, man. How's your day? Okay, I get the bird. You understand? All of them have faulty equipment. We can't tell you what cop car it is because the lights is off and the plates are bent. We make a complaint, it seems like nothing gets done, right? The same way that they have people located in precincts like federal agents for everything else, why don't they have a CCRB member in the precincts? You understand? When they stop, it shouldn't be depending on the scenario. Like he said, depending on the situation, there's no depending. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And like I said, piggyback off of that, nobody's educated on the CCRB. Very few people know. You understand? So who do you complain to when you go to a precinct and the captain's telling you, yo, get the fuck out of here. There's no complaint boards. Go somewhere else with that. Literally. I have people that I'm helping with the CCRB take care of this now. So what I'm saying is at the end of the day, what's the accountability? These people losing their jobs. Somebody still has their job and their voice seemed higher than yours. And the repercussion is just like your kid stole cereal out the cabinet. You was like, just go sit down and watch TV. Where do we stand with it and come into the Civilian Complaint Review Board? You understand? What's the accountability and who comes up with that final decision of the reprimands? That's all I want to know.
Okay. So, Paul, thank you. You brought up a lot of good points. The first is letting people find out about the agency. So we have an outreach team of 5 people for the whole city. And they do a huge amount of work, but it is still just 5 people for the whole city. And for 2 years, we were given a small budget to do some advertising. We focused mostly on web advertising just because TV and radio was very expensive. Although we did a few radio advertisements and a few print, we did mostly online advertising. But it's just not enough. There are 9 million people in this city. And in order to let people know that we are here and we are a resource, we need more resources to reach out. So I don't know that it's square one, but it is a problem. The other issue about who is the person that is the final authority in deciding whether or not to discipline a member of service, it is the police commission. The chair has been outspoken in saying that needs to change, that the police commissioner should not be the final arbiter of discipline in CCRB complaints, but that is the way things are. It is still very new in this police commissioner's tenure. And I am hopeful that the concurrence rate will, where the police commissioner takes the actions, disciplinary actions that we recommend and follows through on them, will go up under this police commission. There was one thing you said that I had a little bit of, I just wanted to push back on a little. When you said right is right and wrong is wrong, I agree with that. But there are some times when conduct is appropriate, and then there are other times when that same conduct is not appropriate. And for a police officer to give you the finger when you say hello, that is a discourtesy. I can't really imagine that there is a time where that is appropriate. However, you know, there are and that's wrong, right? Like that is a discourtesy. That is textbook misconduct. There are times where someone can curse in a stressful situation where they are trying to inform someone that, hey, this is serious. Because this is a public meeting, I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? sort of kind of a trip to the. Correct. I understand what you were saying. And we are.
They go back in the bar and they get this to because of important. That's what I'm saying. And it's nothing to anybody here. Legitimately, the facts do stand as this. It's a work in progress. Like I said, it's no relationship I want to be in, I don't use, right? But everybody here has seen senators has felt some type of repercussion to an officer if you ask a question. 80% of them don't even get the car home. Can I have your badge card? Can I have it? Well, oh, we're talking under the nose act. I know a lot more about this. And that's so I asked, and first they tell me, oh, smart. Nobody wants to hear that. So when you say it back, then you want to be with disorderly conduct, right? You're becoming a menace. You're insinuating a riot before people come over and have some time. That's what we got to go. Then when we come to you for help, I'm seeing you like
No, I.
But when we come for the help, it's going to be with each other. Or we're going to you know what mom is getting for that his father, right? Then he comes up with you. So we're digging at him. This is what we get. I still find it unfair that the body cam takes a minute for the audio to come on. Like he said, so you have to back it. Why is a police officer's body cam never from the time he punches in for It takes a minute for the audio to come on. So within that minute, you like still to the point where you tap on my pockets, you calling me everything other than sir or my name. So nobody hears what led up to this minute where I'm slapping the shit out of you and I'm ready to go to jail. Right? I'm the guy, I'm not gonna look at you. Especially when you say that to a 14-year-old kid. Because he's out here during school hours, or you doing here, he's tapping his pockets. That's still assault. Why can't police face the same charges in front of a judge that they're gonna put me in front of? You understand? But that's what I don't understand. So it's not a misconduct, it's a miscommunication. But then this is natural, and I'm not saying, you're retired, so please don't take any offense, but I know a lot of good cops that pull up and they play with everybody. But it's just a shit show when they gotta come and play ball and they be like, damn. I'm sorry for the other guys on how they treat me. Not every cop is a bad cop. I've got cops that I have in my phone, listen, we playing ball this week, what's going on, coming to the Arbor Hill. And then you got someone you see them, and you walk off. Like I said, when we go, when the CCRB has a footstep in the door, right? And you guys are going, and y'all fighting uphill battle for us. But we still don't have a voice, though, because we still got to go in front of a judge, and they going to go in front of the other.
I hear you, Mr. Paul. I appreciate your comments. Ayu, did you want to
Paul,
comment on
please,
it?
you stay there for a second. All right, I would go right.
Okay, let's go, fellas.
Now, because you have a real concern, I want to address that. First of all, I apologize that we are still going through this in our community, right? And to the former comment about using the analogy of husband and wife, that I'm glad you spoke on that, because there's a book by Alex Rosen that's called Police Wife, right? And it speaks about domestic violence that exists in police relationships and the battering that happens with them inside their internal lives and their personal lives. So yes, so I think you should read that book, brother, so you can change your analogy just for that.
Real bad.
Because we don't need to be abused in any kind of relationship. But I want you to get with Mike Perry, all right? And then he'll get in touch with me so we can go to different commands, right? And really look at the structure of the policing, because I believe what you said, because I see it. I'm from Baisley Projects. I don't know if you ever heard that before. You can Google that and see the relationship that they have with the police, right? And so what we did though, we used in 2014, we used 113 precinct as a pilot of co-producing public safety, where it looks like, well, you can't be the only one that goes, and there's 4 or 5 faces that are doing the advocacy of police respecting the community. We have to really connect them, so when these young brothers in this role get to be your age, that's something that they used to talk about. That's not something that's still occurring.
Right.
All right, and so it's bad, like you said, for them to go back to the relationship. So whatever officer that gave you the bird or whatever, this is out of order conduct. And the only way to really address it, one is to file a complaint. And as you're a patient waiting for the investigators to take care of that case, because I don't want to intervene with your investigation, at that time, there has to be some type of activism, right? Some real strategies of how we don't allow that in community anymore. And that's a lot of talking. That's a lot of your own organizing and stuff like that. You know, and so get in touch with the brother, he get in touch with me, and we go visit every person that you talked about.
I got you.
All right?
Definitely.
Okay, you see my name in front of there, right?
Got you. Trust me, I got it when I'm walking.
I know you took some pictures. I seen everybody taking pictures. All right, but thank you, Brother Paul. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.
I might need more than 4 minutes.
Pardon me, that's my brother. I'm just his backup.
My name is Coach Red. Everyone knows me as Coach Red. I got an organization called Bigger Than Basketball. I use basketball as a tool to keep kids off the street and something positive to do. Once I reel them in with basketball, then we do other activities. I worked with True to Life, and I'm Mike Perry. I know who he is. But it's interesting. I wasn't going to come today because, like I said, this is my personal opinion, because nothing is gonna change. So it's wasting my time. My friend Mike Newcomb got a vegan fest. I was helping to make 100 vegan lasagnas just now. So I rushed there because Shaquana from Beautiful Heartbeats want me to come, and my brother Elliot John from Elliot John Foundation. But like Shaquana said, last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I had 10 basketball games right here in Mahoney Park. I had teams from Jersey, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Philly, come up to Staten Island. They don't know nothing about Staten Island, nothing about Mahoney Park. They came out here for the love of myself, and they played basketball. I said to Shaquana, I sat down, I said, I didn't see not one cop. And I forgot the officer name. I don't see him here today. And I expressed my concern to him. When he calls me, Coach Red, I need a favor. Could you get some young kids to come in here and do whatever? Okay. Because it's about numbers. When you come in here, the first thing they did was stuff those papers in your face to sign. These kids right here are our future. I'm super hard on them. They'll tell you, I don't play with them, because if they could take me, they'd be all right in the street, and the cops get them. Then when I walked in, I heard that funding is being cut. Like, we have to do something to keep the kids occupied and something to do. I don't got no felon. I'm not carrying guns. I don't got no drugs. I'm good. If I come across a counter with a cop, they talk to me like, and I'll just be like, and I don't have time in my schedule to go down to the precinct and make a report. I don't got time to do all of that. But basketball keep kids off the street. That's my method, and my method work. September 24th this year, make 26 years that Sandy Brock been dead. I don't know if any of y'all know who Sandy Brock is. 26 years on September 24th, he been dead through gun violence. The night Sandy Brock funeral, myself and the head coach at Curtis High School, Dwayne Archibald, we was talking to Eddie Watkins, rest in peace. And Eddie Watkins said, ain't nothing gonna change. And I'm not saying listen, if these young men and young women is walking around here with guns, that's out of my control. I can't help you. Coach Red can't help you. Shaquana Elliott cannot help you if you walking around here with a gun. I'm against guns. September 15th, which is Friday, my sister was killed through gun violence. She did school safety, domestic violence. Her boyfriend killed her, then he killed himself. My nephew was in the next room. I work at McKee High School. I coach high school. God willing, thank you for the support right there at McKee High School. My nephew will be graduating high school this year. But like I said, this is my personal opinion. It has to be something the kids look forward to. As I'm coming here just now, I'm walking down the block. The reason why I was late, I was breaking up a high school fight. Me and two other people from the neighborhood. The cops came rushing up and coming to me like I'm fighting. I don't got time to fight. I got to come here, say what I got to say, and get back to making vegan lasagnas. I have a whole plan. I have a theory in my head, and I wrote it down on paper. Is a 9-week program that need funding that will guarantee kids off the street every Friday from 7 to 9. Thank y'all for having me. God bless y'all. Good night.
How y'all doing?
For your work and your passion. And I have to believe that as tough and difficult as it is now, that we can build a better future for our young people. So thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Elliot John. I'm with the Elliot John Foundation. So basically, I do a lot of work within the community with, alongside like Amazon, Chick-fil-A. I do a lot of give backs to the families out here. I make sure a lot of families go with like household supplies, things that they need. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can't really go out and get. I want to touch on a little bit what Brad was talking about, like as far as the kids with the youth and the gun violence. Sometimes like with the cops, like a lot of them is here. It's just like it's no interaction at all. It's like it's just always like they got their minds set as soon as they get here. It's like no smiles, no anything. Like you can't even say hi and converse with any of them. It's like they already got their mind made up. They don't want to talk. It's like they just had hands on hips. It's nothing. It's no help. We just me Red Corner. We just did the back to school drive in Mahoney's. We gave out maybe over 500 book bags. I do turkey drives. I did a Christmas toy drive at PS 31, and I'll be trying as much as I can to help the kids with everything. Like, I don't know what the situation is with their parents or their household, but whatever I can do, I'm trying to do with them. I went to school, I went to college, but I made a mistake in my life, and I had to there was consequences behind that, and I lost my little cousin to gun violence. He was murdered in the store, and I was actually there, and I watched him die. So to me, as a big brother, I feel like I let the streets get him. You know what I'm saying? When I had a chance and an opportunity to make a difference, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of felt like that was on me to show him. So like you said, with a lot of these kids here, I'm trying to do my best, but it's just we need a little more help. It's like I can't do it by myself. I'm trying to do everything. Sometimes I come out of my pocket. I don't even get donations. So it's like it's really nothing for them to do. I see some of them outside 10, 11 at night. Like they shouldn't be outside that late, you know what I'm saying? And it's just the cops is like really just letting them. Like it's not even to where like, hey, it was your parents, you know what I'm saying? How can you need help with anything? It's none of that. It's just I just see them like drive right by, little kids hanging out. They don't say nothing. So I mean, I'm just trying to do my part and do the best I can, but just a little more help without being like prejudged. Like as soon as you get over here, don't already have your mind made up like, oh, I hate coming over there, bunch of ghetto kids and like you can't just look at us like that. We human just like you know what I'm saying? So as a big brother, I'm trying to do what I can and do my part. But like I said, alongside Red helped me out. Corner does a lot of work, you know what I'm saying? She kind of showed me the ropes with the nonprofit thing, you know what I'm saying? So without her, I probably wouldn't even be doing none of this. So I'm just really trying to, whatever it's going to take, I'm willing to do, but y'all got to like meet us halfway at least. Like it can't just be us, y'all just selling us a dream every time. And then we just sitting there waiting and it's nothing being done. Like I'll pull up with an Amazon truck full of supplies, detergent, everything, stuff you would get from Walmart. I make sure everybody in this neighborhood got it. Everybody. I even bring it to people's houses. I just want to make sure it's not even something where it's just like my people. I'm trying to just do it for everybody. So I'm doing my part as much as I can. Thank you.
I just want to correct something because cops did interact with us. At the end, they told us to get out the park. They did. We were cleaning up from the events and getting everything together, and they told us, okay, get out the park. We explained to them everything that we was doing, everything that just happened. Okay, y'all got to go. And then more cops came over. And we was like, that's what pissed them off. It's like, okay, where was y'all during the whole festival? We've been out here since 8 o'clock in the morning, setting up, cleaning up the park as well as getting everything ready. And we offered them food.
We went to Jetro. I bought everybody. I fed everybody. Everybody.
No, seriously. And as he stated, this is a lot that takes out of our pocket. It's taken from our family. You know, we have daughters, we have sons, you know, so we're trying to show them a difference as well and have them working on hand in hand with us. Like we take some of these kids, we'll give you $10, we'll give you $20, help us clean up just to engage with them. And it's not being reciprocated from authorities around us. And it's hurtful. As he said, sometimes it makes you feel like, is anything gonna change? You know?
Elliot been asking me for 2.5 years, let's throw a tournament in Mahoney Park. And my answer to him is no, 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 no. This past weekend, when we did our event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was nothing. It was beautiful. The amounts of text messages and phone calls that I received on the job that we've done this weekend, that was satisfying to me. But then walking down the street and seeing that crazy brawl with high school kids is like, what about if a basketball game was going on right now and the cops was here? It would be no violence. If I do a basketball game and you act up and the cops are there, you're going to jail. It's that simple. I don't have no problem with that. I go to Brooklyn, I go to Gersh, I go to Zone 6. I see everybody throw beautiful tournaments out here. My friend Stanley Etheridge in the harbor, he tried to do something good in Mariners Harbor. But soon as the kids and the crowd get on the court and in the game and it gets excited, the cops acting like it's a big issue. It's basketball. That's what happens. Have any of y'all been to Gersh Park in Brooklyn? You have. Like, soul in the home. Like, why we can't bring that back out here? It can happen. Listen, I'm not talking about adults playing basketball. I don't got time for adults playing basketball. I'm talking about the kids playing basketball. Run a good league, run it the right way. Fund us to run a basketball tournament that would keep these kids off the street. When I grew up in Red Hook, Brooklyn, many moons ago, we had a basketball game. It was called Paradise Classic. And then the next day, they took us to Great Adventure. Or one year, they take us to Bear Mountain. They did stuff like that. It ain't nothing out here, and everything is funding. You need funding. I'll be seeing, this is my personal opinion, I be seeing these wild organizations out here getting funding. For what? What are you doing?
They getting us to bring in
I used to work at JCC. You know what happened? I quit. While I'm working for you, and there's no knock on JCC, it's just more respect that I have for myself. While I'm working for you, and I could do the same thing you're doing. You think if I could get funding, I could get 20 kids to come here with this. While I'm working for the JCC, for it. I was right. I was sitting at. I don't want to get you in trouble, but I was sitting at the front desk, answering all my emails, not doing nothing. So I said, you know what? I quit. Let me focus on bigger than basketball. Let me focus on my dream because ain't nobody gonna work hard at my goal but me. So I really like far as the cops or whatever, like I said, I don't do nothing. They don't bother me because I'm not walking around with a gun. I'm not walking around with drugs. I'm not beating my girlfriend. I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. So that don't concern me. What concern me is that he graduated high school and they know he walked by me in school. Oh, Coach Ray, Coach Ray, Coach Ray. He know, but he don't get it yet because he's still a kid. He don't get it. He's gonna get it when he's older. And I know because I was him. So hopefully it'll be changed. But like I said, though, Sandy Brock, rest in peace. He been dead 26 years. Eddie Watkins, long Staten Island, he been dead 6 years. And I will never forget it. I was 16 years old. I'm 43 right now when Sandy Brock got killed. And I remember like it was yesterday, Eddie Watkins said, Red, Dwayne Archibald Curtis, the coach, he said, ain't nothing gonna change. 26 years later, ain't nothing changed.
Coach, sir. So, Coach, I know you got to go make some
Vegan lasagna, yes, vegan lasagna.
So I can't officially CCRB wise help you, but I know two people I'm going to call if you have a.
Say that again?
There are two people I'm going to call and try and help with the foundation. So if you have a card or something.
I have a
know-
phone number. You can call me. You can call me. I work 24 hours a day. You can call
I'll
me.
give you my card. What's your, I don't want to, do you want to put your number on the?
Yes, I give you my number.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my website too, the link to my site.
Just
9764. Coach Red, 2 D's. I'm available all the time.
Thank you.
Think you want a link to my website?
Sure.
It's ElliotJohnFoundation.org. I just did a football camp in Curtis too.
JOHN?
Elliot John.
All right. Thank you so much.
Foundation.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Gotcha.
Because I have what it is.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We're going to hear from our next presentation.
All right. Okay. All right, guys. So I just came down here and then they didn't tell me I had an opportunity to speak at all. I was like, oh, snap. All right. So I literally wrote what I had on here. My name is Peter. I'm the NAACP's New York Juvenile Justice Chair. And I'm just gonna get into like the story. So I had pretty much one police interaction like in my lifetime. So I remember a time with my uncle. He was driving a car down Richmond Terrace, like by currently PS 59. He was in two policemen stopped us right where we were getting there, questioned him about his car, and during the interaction, they asked him for his license and asked if he was a gypsy cab driver. And afterwards, I was actually during this interaction told to step out the car and told to not lie and to tell them the truth as to whether or not my uncle was operating a car commercially. I'm not abreast with the law myself personally, but eventually the police officer allowed us to continue on our way. And I know now he was only stopped because of a broken taillight. And I'm not a law major, and I don't know what it is that they wanted to do to detain my uncle. And in hindsight, I would have hoped that the police in that situation were very cordial and not suspect my 65-year-old uncle at that time of having a stolen or unregistered vehicle. Because for a long time, I felt like I didn't have a say because I was not behind the wheel in that situation. And so I believe that the police knew how to wield their authority. And this actually happened not 2 years after the death of our fallen brother Eric Garner. And I plead to y'all that we continue to hold law enforcement personnel to be straightforward with us when they have no evidence of our wrongdoings. I was told by brother to ask this question right here: where do police officers get the laws that they enforce? And who and what systems are in place that gives the police that authority to wield their, to intimidate in a certain way? I believe if, like me personally, if I was trained, in the police academy, I believe I would treat everybody with respect, no matter if I have a badge. I respect you if you have a badge or if you're wearing a suit and tie sitting down. I respect people the same way, even if I'm dressed, act a certain way. And so those are the questions I ask of our police, or it's what I demand from our police officers, but it's the question I was supposed to pose to y'all.
So the laws that the police enforce in Staten Island and in all New York City are voted on by the Assembly and the Senate in Albany and then enacted by the governor. There are also laws passed by the city council and enacted by the mayor that can have criminal repercussions. But as for how they use their authority and the way they treat people, that is not something that comes from the law. That is how people are trained. And so, one of the things that we do at the CCRB is we try and make sure that officers are treating people as they should, which is with courtesy, professionalism, and respect. And there are times when there are situations where officers are allowed to be discourteous, when they are allowed to be aggressive, when they can try and intimidate people into listening. But generally speaking, officers should not do that unless they are given reason to do them. So if, for example, there is a traffic stop because someone has a bad taillight, then there shouldn't be intimidation and threats in that encounter.
Yeah, I've always known, yes. So again, because he had a broken taillight, I believe that I still also left a little bit of information out that he actually had driven what used to be, I believe my father might have operated a cab. Either he bought his former car, but the car looked like a silver taxi cab that you would see in the New York in the 90s. So I understand that there might have been confusion on the part of the police. I still am not sure what the comments for the gypsy cab drivers are, or if the fact that he looked like he was he is an immigrant, actually. Yes, but I still don't understand what warranted this questioning of these police officers. And I really never heard gypsy cab driver from like anybody other than I haven't heard it for a long time. I don't know if it's something illegal, something he did wrong. If there's something wrong with being a gypsy cab driver, yeah. Very confused, just a confusing situation. Yeah.
Yes, you got another, last one. Last comment.
Yeah, I'm just making the board, there's more work to be done. And I don't know how you organize this meeting, but with the brilliant ideas coming out, in a subsequent, I'm just making a suggestion in subsequent board meetings for the commissioner, police commissioner or the head of the police to be part of this type of meeting. There's always a saying when I have personal interaction with police officers, I always tell them, twice a civilian, once a police officer. You are a civilian, you enroll into the police. After you retired, you are back in the community. Your legacy, your actions will make sure how the community accepts you. And I was listening to my sister talking about when they were cleaning up. And I think that was the reason why I was saying husband and wife. It's not like an intermarriages, but the police should look at the civilians as somebody that they get information from, and they should be hugging them, get information and do the right thing. Because this is a very brilliant thing, and there should be more training for the police to understand how they interact with civilians and how, after their retirement, they should know that they are coming back to the community and they should be accepted overwhelmingly. So that is just my last comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Citizen twice, police officer once. We heard you. Thank you so much. My apologies for that. Just had to step out of my role for a second. Are there any other comments by anyone in the room? Yes, sir.
So we have people.
We do? Okay.
It's always just been a problem. None of us here is probably ever gonna go to the academy. What is the actual training, or where do the police get the training and the education, right? To, when they approach us, accuse us of what we're doing under penal code? Is that in-house? Is that in the academy? Where does it come from?
Joe and Charmaine, Frank, there is a Citizens Police Academy that people can go to that gives people a flavor of what it's like to be in some of the training that officers get.
So how do we get that information?
Charmaine, if you could respond.
So were you asking where
Where do they get that training?
That feeling about how they feel about communities when they come, or are you talking about the formal training?
Just in general, for a cop to stop and say, I need your ID for such and such and such, any infraction, right? Because from my understanding, you need probable cause. And a cop says, I don't need it. That's what I was saying when he said in certain situations. What's those other situations where I have to give it to you regardless, whether I'm getting detained or arrested?
Well, there are certain levels in the law where police can do certain things, and that would take an entire different lecture. So sometimes you can stop someone without probable cause. But to go back to your question, police.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What are those things? Because 7 people could look alike. You're gonna stop all 7 people until you figure out what you're looking for?
Well, there's something called the common law right to inquiry. There's something called reasonable suspicion.
Got
And
that.
then there's something called probable cause.
Mhm.
Now, that's the law. And the reason why we're here is that when police officers, and what we're hearing from you, and I appreciate you sharing from your lived experience, sometimes police officers are not acting within the law, which is why we're here. And I know our executive director did say that we are hampered with resources, but this room was full with 50 people. So it's great that someone like you, or when you hear about the CCRB and the different ways to report, that you help us spread that information to other people. So when our communities are empowered, they can continue to learn how to leverage and access community services to get the response.
So where do they get their information? And so us as the citizens
Right.
to get that same understanding of these penal
So
laws.
police officers are required to have 60 college credits, and then they go, in New York City, they attend the police academy for 6 months, and they receive training, and they'll receive periodic training throughout their careers. There's different types of training. There's roll call trainings and other trainings that they have to attend.
On the law and penal codes, though.
Not just the law and penal code, others, there's other training as well.
All right, all right. Just wanted a
Did that-
little,
did that help?
clearer understanding.
Did that help?
All right.
Okay.
I got you.
All right.
I understand we still have a couple of people that are on the line who have comments, and then I also wanted to call on one of the members of our board, Esmeralda. You had a comment?
Thank you. I wanted to thank the community members for coming out and speaking tonight. I was very moved by the remarks of Coach Red and his service to the community, and the sister who spoke before about having a community event. I also want folks to understand that there, we need you to talk to us. Our outreach workers have been in and out of your community, but any of you can talk to us at any time without even filing a complaint by just being in touch with our office in the same way as if you're filing a complaint, because we need the information you're sharing. The last thing I would like to say is that I would like to ask our executive director to give the community the information about the patrol officers' guidelines, the same thing that we get to see. It's a public document. They can look it up so they can get a better idea of what cops are supposed to do or not do based upon a police department's rules for officers. But that this is a complicated thing. There's, hundreds of laws, case laws from the courts and trainings, and we're all supposed to make some sense out of this. But the more you know about how the NYPD operates, the better you will be to protect yourself and your community and know what officers can do and what they can't do. But a lot of this is pure common sense as well. I thank you all for coming out. I especially thank Coach Red and the Sister Shaquana for the work that they're doing.
Thank you so much, Ms. Simmons.
So if people want a link to the patrol guide, which is the foundational document for police officers, if you go to our website and go to the policy and data tab, and then click on the box that says foundational documents and city mandates, there is a link to the NYPD patrol guide. And then you can look up all of those regulations. And then the Citizens Police Academy, if you want to find out more about that, you would send an email to citizenspoliceacademy@nypd.org. But we are separate and independent from the NYPD, so I don't really know how that works.
I believe you said there are a few people online.
Yes. First, we'll be hearing from Rick Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
York City CCRB. How you doing, Jonathan?
Good, Mr. Robinson. How are you doing today?
Can you hear me? Sir.
Mr. Robinson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Listen, first of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you guys. I think the most important thing that people have to realize is that when you are actually engaged in this type of work, you are a brave person. All right. Police departments have been violating people's rights for years. So I want to applaud you and your team, Jonathan. And I look forward to seeing you next month with my team in Newark, New Jersey, regarding our CCRB. So you guys actually should be applauded because years ago there was no other recourse to actually fight misconduct matters or people who were actually victims of excessive force, excessive use of force, I should say, or even fatalities. So I give you a lot of credit. I'll tell you who I am. My name is Mr. Rick Robinson. I used to be the chairperson for the Newark, New Jersey CCRB. Recently, I have taken on a role as the new managing lead for the CCRB in Newark, New Jersey. So I look forward to our visit next month. I will actually contact your mayor and tell him that we're coming over for the tour. And I think this is very important. You have to understand that when you actually stand up for something in regards to this discipline, all right, you should be acknowledged and respected. Now, I know that I heard a lot of people earlier talk about their programs and stuff like that. I think that's a good vehicle for referrals because I think you said you can call some people for these young brothers pertaining to their programs. That's great. So that's another added piece to the CCRB, which is not really the job of the CCRB. The actual job of the CCRB is to address misconduct by police officers. That's the job. So you're doing a job, plus you're doing other things on top of that. So again, I want to actually thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I look forward to seeing you next month. You get my email tomorrow, and then I wish you all, to be safe, and to be careful, and keep continuing the good work.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robinson.
And thank you for the work you're doing with the Newark CCRB.
My pleasure. Look
Ira,
forward
can we
to seeing
hear
you,
from the
John.
next speaker?
Next, we'll be hearing from John McCary Jr.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Ira, we're not seeing Mr. McCary.
Mr. McCary, can you hear us? I heard you briefly. a
Oh,
moment ago.
sorry. Do you hear me now? Sorry about that, guys. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
How is everybody doing tonight? This is John McCary. I'm a retired lieutenant. I served 18 years in the NYPD. I grew up in Staten Island. I had recently retired. I retired over the vaccine mandate. I refused to take the vaccine and I retired. And since I did that, I've been speaking out, trying to bring cops and communities together. I started a podcast, New York's Finest, Retired and Unfiltered podcast, where we speak about police issues. I wasn't going to speak tonight. I came here to actually ask a question about the profiling unit, but I'm going to refrain from doing that, and I'll save that for another night. I heard a lot of young leaders in the room speaking tonight, and I think this truly isn't the forum for most of the stuff you need, the funding, but I think it's very important that we have these conversations, and I applaud CCRB for holding this and letting all of these people, giving them an opportunity to speak and to speak their truth and the circumstances they deal with the NYPD. Most of what I hear I'm a young kid. I grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. I moved to Staten Island. I was arrested twice in my youth. I was given numerous summonses as a juvenile. I was always hanging out in the park, playing basketball, hung out with some good people, hung out with some bad people. I have a lot of life experience in New York City. And I just want to say to the members of the community, especially to the leaders who are dealing with these young kids, I just want to back up on what John said. You go to nypd.org and you could go online and you could look at the patrol guide and look at each function of when a stop is warranted and when it isn't. I've had numerous interactions with the police in my youth, and then I've had thousands of interactions as a cop with youth. And what I would say, and I suggest to everyone, is know the law, know the procedure, know everything in and out, and have it be known when there's a problem. And we need voice at the table. We need police. Again, I've spoken here and I said this before, and I don't want to offend anyone at the CCRB, but I believe police should be present here, especially the leadership. I believe they should hear the interactions and try to come up with ways to improve it. You know, you're always going to deal with personalities. Cops are human like everybody else, right? You go to the doctor's office, girl might be having a bad day at the front desk. She's going to give you an attitude. Unwarranted, warranted, doesn't matter. You're there to do your job, 100% agree with that. But what I'll say is, and I think this is what never gets said and what needs to be said, is that we need to have this discussion, everybody, real discussions, whether we agree or not. At least we understand where people are coming from. But to the youth specifically, in the street is not the time to challenge the cops. I'm going to just say what my father told me. Like I said, I was arrested twice. I had a very big disdain for the police until I matured a little bit more. I had a lot more interactions and I kind of understood it. I got to know a cop. I got to know a senior guy, and he kind of explained it to me, and I kind of seen where I was wrong and where I escalated situations. And exactly what my father said to me: listen, if they're going to lock you up, I don't care what you did. If you did nothing wrong, just put your hands behind your back, go to jail. We'll figure it out. File your complaints. We'll get a lawsuit. Do not fight with these guys. They have guns on them. They're afraid. They don't know who you are. They will use those guns. And that is, and being a police officer, I've been in those situations where I've been scared. I do have intricate knowledge of New York City, and New York City, all different ethnicities and all different groups. I worked in every neighborhood in New York City. I did anti-crime for a long time. So I was that guy jumping out on the car, doing stops on youth, looking for firearms, guns, drugs. And so I understand the fears, and I understand the real fears, and I also understand your fears. So I just wanted to speak on that, and I want to applaud everyone for coming here. There were some things I didn't agree with, and there were some things I did. But regardless, we're not here to change each other's mind. But I just want to say I understand getting offended by we're the police are the husband and you're the wife. I'm here to say that the police we're a family, right? We're all there. I'm your neighbor. I'm your brother. I'm your cousin. I'm the kid that went to school with you. I'm 43 years old also. I remember when Sandy Brock died. I remember that totally. I remember him playing for Curtis. I attended Newdorf High School. I played basketball. These are things that impact all of us. I have children. I don't want my children dealing with overzealous police either. But I also teach my children the same thing. It's not the time. And even in retirement now, I interact with some cops where I'm like, whoa, this guy got a real bad attitude. But like I said, I try to just keep a human element to it, and I try to keep it the same way I did on the street. I try to understand the person that I'm dealing with's viewpoint. And I just think to the public, you should try to understand the cop's viewpoint too. And if they're wrong, it's not the place. And I'm not saying not to use your voice, and I'm not saying not to speak up for yourself, but I'm just saying, like, don't let it get to physical escalation. And that's where we see things go bad constantly. So I appreciate you guys letting me speak on that, and I'll kick it over to you. I'll be back at the next one to bring up my issue. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Makari, for your comments and for your perspective. We do appreciate it. Yohaira, do we have anyone else on the line?
That concludes the public session, Chair. That concludes the public session.
I was asking the board members if they have any old
sorry.
business to come before the board. Do you have any new business to come before the board? Hearing none, I'm going to move now that we break into executive session. The agenda for the executive session is the board will deliberate on a full board case. We will receive an update from the general counsel on litigation, and the executive director will discuss pending personnel issues. I would like to make a motion to conclude the public meeting for September. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.